Alright. This is taking me longer than I thought it would. If I remember correctly, I left myself some notes. Follow up on Anonymom. Who is the woman with the tattoo? Susan is a lead on the last of Guy Hudson's affairs. Cicely Sanchez mentioned Susie as a girlfriend. Oh, okay. Let's remind myself what Cicely said. Got these pictures from Mark's kids, man. How can I find nothing about him? I'm getting distracted again. The Herald. Mark Clementine. Of course not. It was like the Miami Sunday, was it? Yeah, I don't think the Miami Sunday is real. Where did Cicely Sanchez tell me everything? Something about Susie. Oh, something about Beth Knox. Lead to other information, right? Caroline Morton's sculptures were not useful. I gotta search for these again. After the release of 6 pieces, Caroline Morton did a television interview. Someone has uploaded a partial transcript of the interview on the television section of a messaging community. The transcript is only her answers and is missing the questions. This creates a somewhat confusing reading experience, but does give you a bit more history about Caroline and some of her family members. Where is it? There it is. This was a cable news interview. A transcript of only Caroline's answers has been posted on a site about television. Thanks for having me. I wonder. I've never really fit into the family, so it didn't surprise me. She could have put me in if she wanted to talk about the time during my activism days when I almost got arrested for stealing the spark plugs out of all her tractors. But I don't really think it fit her narrative. Yes and no. They never tried to kick me out or send me to live on a farm, if that's what you mean. But I was already pretty unpopular, and once everyone learned why I divorced my husband, few people paid me any attention. That's Samantha's daughter, right? No, it's not. It's her. She's my wife, not legally, but we've been together for half our lives. Call it what it is. I was 20 and I just had my daughter. I hate to look back on that time because I was a terrible mother. The first few years, I left my daughter with my ex-husband and followed Guy on a private jet to Europe. He lost a tooth and a client. I found love and a better understanding of who I was. Still, in our family's eyes, this trip was somehow more acceptable. Explain that. Is that Caroline Morton in the picture? Where is she? Not here. Christmas tree, this one. Oh, I see. I'm really annoyed that it doesn't have the pictures from the previous. Like, does it not? Oh, it's here. It's here. Oh, why? Oh, it's here. I don't see any tattoos. I think I looked for that before too. Doesn't matter. Okay, back to the interview. No, I couldn't stand him. Our family wrote off his behavior like he was some huge fan of romance or women, but he didn't like the entire woman. It was doubly awkward for me because he was more supportive than most. I slowly figured out it was because he assumed I would be as shallow as he was. He was a workaholic. He seemed nice enough and did a good job. I didn't know him well. That was one of Sam's problems with our family. None of us did except Carl. Honestly, I get why she's pissed. I'd rather not speak ill of the dead, not unless you want more stories about Guy. With Carl, though, all I can say is he used to be friends. We used to be friends before they sent him to private school. He came back a lot judgier. It made sense when they made him president. He was a lot like my father after they disciplined the fun out of him. After I started protesting the farms, he stopped returning my calls. Oh well, he's harder to label. When I was a teenager, he was basically drunk, or high, or both, all the time. He actually used to sell me pot. His problems with women were different than Guy's, but he never really judged me. I guess he knew it would be pretty hypocritical to judge anyone for anything. Back then, he was destructively unreliable in every way, but nowadays he's just kind of boring and old. I prefer that to how he used to be, and to Guy and to Carl, but it's still a cautionary tale. I hope I've never that boring and old. She might be talking about Clark. I'm thinking. Is that Susan Ford? Don't know. And then this dead end, and then Elias and Bess Williams, which I didn't find anything to go for it. Alright, where did I find this? Just in here? Um, did I do another deep dive on her books? These are clues. Well, this led to something. Alright, let's search for this guy. Oh, well, this is a dead end. He didn't care. Lauren Roottrees books. Again. This is not her only book, right? Lauren Rafferty. Thought she had another book. Not just court gesture and romance in court. I think I did. I looked at those recently. An historical book about historical letters. Archive. It was this one, wasn't it? Fisher Christensen. Copy. Tina Angelina. Each letter was accompanied by context of the book's author. Okay, I guess this is nothing. Butler County Times. Alright, Caroline Morden again. Same as before. Oh! The sculpture is one of the many featured in her upcoming book, Self-Portrait Art and the Beauty of Women. Has this been published? Oh, this is in the past. I already looked at this. Okay, mostly black and white. Not have been added to your evidence. I remember this. Uh-huh. What is her husband's name? Mark Landon. Alright, immediately sidetracked again. Alright, so it's Anonymom. What do I have for Susie Ford? Oh well. The Brazil one took over. Where was the other one? Roottrees everywhere. Let's follow up on this. It was Roottrees France is the last one. So maybe it's not Susan Ford at all. Let's do this. Let's get on track. Something we can do. Roottrees France is one of the companies created to manufacture and distribute Roottrees candy. It was developed as part of the Roottrees Everywhere initiative in the summer 1979. Apparently, Roottrees France is a non-starter. Crap. It's Susan. Negotiations broke down pretty late in the process after the company had already been formed, and then the leadership of Roottrees went through a very large change soon after. The CEO of Roottrees France was meant to be Tristan Robert. Tristan Robert is a businessman who was at one time... Highlight. In negotiations to take over Roottrees France, He is still alive, and you come across an interview unrelated to Roottrees from a few months ago. It seems that other countries have not been immune to Roottrees mania, as you recognize the word Roottrees in one of the questions. It seems the interviewer snuck in a question about his experience with the company at the end of the 70s. The article's in French, and it takes some time to translate section by section. He mentions Guy by first name only, Guy, and the tale he tells is quite ugly. The translation is as follows. Guy, the president of Roottrees, was one of the worst men I have ever met. He approached my wife about having an affair, but she refused. He then kept insisting that this was the best way to celebrate the end of our business contract. I don't think he expected her to say no, and I don't think he thought she would tell me what happened. I punched him in the face and refused to attend another meeting with this man. They lost a lot of money on this deal because not only was he a terrible person, but he was also a terrible businessman. When he died shortly after, it felt like the universe was working things out. I wasn't surprised to learn that he had a secret child. He seemed to to treat women like collectible pocket monsters. It seems mentioning Pokemon sidetracks the questions a bit, and the interview never returns to the subject of Roottrees. Did he say secret daughter or secret child? Secret child. So, I think the last one is Susan. And Cicely Sanchez talked about this in one of these. Like, where are the Piketty pictures? These ones. It wasn't this one. Where was it? Ah, so the pictures weren't included. Alright, let's review this. I'm going to skim it real quick. Search for fancy flavors. Oh, there's an older version of this page. Okay, so this is new. Guy Hudson, who was the only president of Roottrees for a few years in the late 70s and 80s, had mostly faded into obscurity except for the fancy flavors debacle. During Roottrees mania, he suddenly rose to prominence again after 5Ps appeared on the cover of a magazine holding a photo of Guy and his mother. A few people that existed adjacent to the company in the 70s have come forward with stories about debauchery and swinger parties. Guy liked to throw large holiday parties whenever he had an excuse, and they often got very out of hand. This fact has led to some people to speculate that the night he died in a car crash he was drunk and impaired in some way, but the Butler County Police have released multiple statements and ample evidence that proves decisive that it was not foul play, and that no party had taken place. Anyone who tried to destroy it. Okay, maybe the accident. Alright. Guy Hudson. Death. What? Oh, the... Uh-huh. I have no children. Adurled. Teen Blast. Oh. Silver Screen Magazine. How about Ron Roottrees? His old. Robbie Roottrees. So there's a thing about him. Now this is old as well. I don't like this, and may now be irrelevant. Like, duh. Brother Trouble. Still old. All right. Let's do a little update on Cicely Sanchez. All right. The next page. All right, so this is Susie. I remember her from our trip overseas. So this is the clue. She went to Brazil, right? So this picture with the Brazilian couple must be Susan Ford with the tattoo. So I found stuff about her in the guide of the Grand Fort Dove, and then I started going down Brazil. Susie Ford. Susan Ford. Why? I'm remembering Beth Knox in my head. Alright. There's something about a Beth. Beth must be over here. Let's ignore Beth for now. And try to get Susan Ford. And maybe one day we'll find out what Mark Clementine's kids are called. Well, Mary Webb, Mary Clement. Well, no, I'm getting distracted again. Susan Ford. Grandorf. Let's review the Grandorf Dove. The deaf, formerly of Grandorf Dove. Grandorf School, okay. Same. Pick D. Fort and Telegraph. Butler County. Oh, I never searched for it here. Grandorf School for the Deaf has made a few odd appearances here and there in the Butler County Times since 1990. It is not too many. It's not too many that you can't look at all of them. And so after scrolling through a few pages, you manage to find something incredibly useful. An article that isn't even focused on the school itself. Local students provide key evidence to scientific study. The article from March of this year, 1999, mentions that the Ford sisters who attend public school in Butler County are One of the only handful of identical twins in the world who suffer from two different genetic issues. One of them has asthma, and the other has a deadly allergy to peanuts. Their mother, Miss Susie Ford. Alright. Who is principal at the she is principal. The Grandor School for Deaf was originally contacted by researchers looking to identify if there are any sets of twins where one was born deaf and the other was not. Well, she didn't have any twins attending her school. She asked her for daughters, Melissa and Heather. Alright, it's definitely her. Could be useful, and it turns out they were. She says they couldn't be more different. My youngest, we all call her that, even though she's only about by 15 minutes, is shy, but it essentially hasn't stopped running from the moment that she learned to scamper. Asthma has kept her sister off the soccer field, but she's the definition of extrovert, and is even performing in a local production of Is There Life After High School later this year. The article includes a picture of the girls added to your evidence. Alright. They're at school. They have the tattoos. The twin on the left is holding an inhaler, and the twin on the right is holding an EpiPen. Alright, back to the article. Which one's which? Is shy. Essentially hasn't stopped running the moment she learned to scamper. Alright, she has the EpiPen. Melissa and Heather. Which one's which? Over here. So the youngest is this one. Melissa Ford. She's a student. This is Heather Ford. She's a student. Boom, boom. Guy Hudson, you're done. Oh, none. Alright. Who's she married to?
Hey there, it's us. So I just have to say, the work you're doing here is fantastic.
So fantastic, in fact.
They're waiting outside the door?
There goes Clark. Always the bad cop. Go ahead.
Well, our law firm, Ruby Legal Enterprises, is having trouble keeping up. They're actually begging us to stop submitting new Roottrees. They said it's getting difficult to verify your progress.
Well, consider that a good thing. I told Clark you'd get results.
She says that like I didn't believe her. Regardless, the bad news is it's going to take 5 potential tree additions before anyone locks in from now on. Good luck.
And keep up the good work.
Is there more than 5 left? So I finished Guy except for Susan's husband. Alright, Elias is infidelity, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, then Elias himself. And I need a picture of Elias. Alright. Anonymom, I think, is a thing for here. Oh. Another picture of Susan Ford. There's something about her husband. And another picture of Guy. Do I want to continue with this thread? Let's search for Miss Susie Ford. No. She mentioned her husband somewhere. Let's go back. Has been working at school for over 15 years, but also mentions she's not deaf herself, but rather learn using sign language to communicate with the deaf. It mentions that she was responsible for securing funding for the Hudson Wing. Can I just search for that? Aha. Oh no, I searched for this already. Surprised her future husband, who was deaf. She has a tattoo on her hand. Like, this is gonna be important for some reason. Periodicals. Susan Ford. Susie Ford. Oh ho. Oh, same. What can I do? Where is her husband? So I'm missing a picture of Guy Hudson and Susan Ford, and I don't know Susan Ford's husband's name. So there's a big... I'm just missing something. Another picture of Clark, another picture of Chris Rafferty. And Louisa Rafferty. Where am I going to find these? Well... Regina... Okay, where am I gonna find this? I'm not gonna run into Guy Hudson anymore. Roottrees, Brazil. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Don't know how to search for that. Okay, let's picture a guy. So there's gonna be a picture of her with a tattoo on her hand, and that's how we're gonna link Susan Ford. Let's see if we can find any. Wasn't here. So Beth Knox is something to search for, because there was some mention about her somewhere. I don't remember where. Okay. Rafferty's. Why? Albert Cross and Fred Cross are no longer Christine Garland. Susan Ford was hired under a special category that only existed for 1 year. Interpreter. This is where they met. Here. Okay. Terry O'Connor. Office staff. Of course not. Jeez, he just left right away. How many leads have I forgotten? Child got married. It no longer works in this department. Fourth of July Spectacular. Alright, let's look for the New Year's Eve ball. New Year's Eve ball. Christmas tree bash. July 4th Spectacular, was it called? 4th of July Spectacular. Never did the flavors, which were Shikwa. Oh, Chinese watermelon, suikwa. Suika in Japanese. Strawberry. Strawberry is the English word for strawberry. Caviar. Fancy flavors. Oh, this is an older version? Okay. As the only president of Roottrees for a few years in the late 70s and 80s, mostly paid. Okay. Second price, like throw large parties, he had an excuse. This fact has led to some people speculate that the night he died in a car crash. Oh, so I did read this just a second ago. I can't. Butterscotch. Australia, China, France, and Brazil. They went all that year. Australia So Australia, Brazil, Susan Ford. Is there more about Australia? Roottrees, Oz. I looked for Charles Martin a lot. They find like his daughter got super rich. Didn't find any pictures of her. That led to a dead end. That was a nothing. That was a nothing. Maybe there's a picture of Susan Ford in Australia. Charles Martin. Let's search. Since I've read this already. Same thing. So this was a red herring. No picture of this, so I'm gonna get hung up on this picture of Susan Ford. Yeah, I think I read this. Okay. Enough of this. I don't know if I'm ever gonna find it. This is gonna bug me. Alright, one more crack at the Grand Dwarf Dove. Uh-huh. Oh, wait a minute. Grandorf Dove was a school for the deaf near Butler and was regularly listed in articles in other schools with other local schools. The Butler County Times archives includes what seems like an endless list of snow cancellations, extracurricular activities, and weekend events that began over 70 years ago and stretched until the last mentioned 1990. Amongst the avalanche of useless information, you almost miraculously discover one useful article. Grandorf Dove was at the center of a crime article from 1982 that seems that someone defaced the school and vehicles outside the brand new Hudson wing of the school. There were multiple broken windows, and one of the teachers' cars was painted with profanities and accusations of infidelity. Okay. A few weeks later, a follow-up article provides more details. There was one arrest. Thomas Hughes, who was coincidentally a former student of the school. Apparently, the destruction came weeks after he married the school's newest teacher, Miss Hughes. There you are. I found you. I found you. I need a picture, though. Apparently, she was not a teacher when he went. He graduated a few years earlier. According to the reporter's investigation and into the police reports, trials, and restraining orders, Mr. Hughes was convinced that he was not the father of Mrs. Hughes' current pregnancy. He was released on bail, and the school has agreed not to press criminal charges after an agreement was made to pay the damages for the school for the couple to begin the divorce proceeding. Did they divorce? They did. It seems Thomas Hughes, Mrs. Hughes, and the Hudson Wing have all avoided further appearance at the Butler County Times. Got the name. I got his name. Alright, so maybe there's just a chance picture of Guy Hudson and Susan Ford in another picture. So, this might be a short one. We'll progress with Anonymous next time.